Hello, Holy Trinity. Today is Tuesday, November 21st of Thanksgiving week. The passages from the Gospel of Luke we've been hearing in daily Mass over the past many weeks narrate Jesus's eventful journey from Galilee to Jerusalem. We have heard healings, miracles, confrontations, challenges, wake-up calls, and other parables along the way. In the spirit of Ignatian spirituality, I've been imagining myself encountering Jesus at various points on this journey. Yesterday, as a blind person on the side of the road, and Jesus was asking me, Liz, what do you want me to do for you? Today, I picture myself short of stature, like Zacchaeus, climbing a sycamore tree to see Jesus. What do you want me to do for you? We all have our needs. Please heal my loved one. Please protect the people I love. Please help me know what to say in this situation. Please bring peace to the Middle East. And yet, the loved one dies. The people I love get hurt. I say the wrong thing after all. Violence begets more horrific violence in the Middle East. And what does our faith in God mean in the context of these bad things that happen and keep happening? I am not the first to ask this question. Like Zacchaeus, we're seeking to see you, Jesus, and we find our vision obscured. Today's Old Testament reading presents a terrible thing happening. It's from a collection of books that narrate a time about 150 years before Jesus, and it was when Jerusalem is besieged by a foreign power. King Antiochus of Syria has plundered Jerusalem. He's desecrated the temple by sacrificing a pig on the altar, forbidding Jews to worship, and ordering the complete destruction of the Jewish people. There's a man named Eleazar. He is a foremost Jewish scribe and apparently beloved by many. Noble, dignified, advanced in age, worthy of his years. He's being forced to eat the pork from the sacrificed pig, which he spits out. And for his refusal, Eleazar is tortured and killed. Now, he could have pretended to eat the pork and been saved, but he can't bear having the young people think he has abandoned his religion. He's willing to give up his life, he says, quote, to leave to the young a noble example of how to die willingly and generously for the revered and holy laws. Second Maccabees tells the whole story. And if you haven't read it yet today, maybe pause the recording here and read this dramatic and compelling story. And just a little note, you will only find 1st and 2nd Maccabees in Catholic Bibles. But I find myself asking, what good does Eleazar's refusal to abandon his faith and his God do to change the circumstances of the Jewish people at that time? Tomorrow we're going to hear again in our daily reading from 2nd Maccabees about the 7 brothers who were also being forced to eat pork. All of them were martyred. Their mother saw them be killed, and then she herself was killed. What good did their refusal to do something against their laws do? What did their refusal to abandon their faith and their God do to change the oppressive and violent situation? I might ask the same question about Dr. Haman Allah, a 36-year-old liver doctor in El Shifa Hospital in northern Gaza, who was asked in an interview last month whether he would heed the warning of the Israeli military, who told him and others like him to leave northern Gaza. Why won't you go with your family south? The interviewer asks him. And his noble and dignified answer echoes Eleazar's. And if I go, who treats my patients? We are not animals. You think I went to medical school so I think only about my life and not my patients? Do you think this is the reason I went to med school, to think only about my life? It was an inhumane choice, his vocation or his life. 2 weeks later, he was killed in an airstrike. What good did his refusal to do something against his calling do? What did his refusal to abandon his patience and his practice do to change the oppressive and violent situation? In the face of such brutal circumstances in the Holy Land 2,000 years ago and in the Holy Land today, what does the witness of a few courageous and principled people do in the long run? Help me, Jesus, to see where you are in this. We sometimes think Zacchaeus' desire to see Jesus is endearing and kind of humorous. And we're as surprised as Zacchaeus when Jesus invites him to his house, and we're delighted when Zacchaeus scrambles down that sycamore tree. But Zacchaeus, the chief tax collector, guilty of extortion, is dead serious. This encounter with Jesus leads him to commit to repay those he cheated 4 times over, and then to give away half of what he has left to the poor. I don't understand how this balance works, or if it does. But I think the question Jesus asks, what do you want me to do for you? And the question Zacchaeus asks, who is this Jesus and how can I see him, are completely related. We know that this journey that Jesus is on from Galilee to Jerusalem ends with his execution. But as Christians, we also know that his execution is not the end of the story. We believe he rose again and rises again and again with us and in us and through us, calling us to life. And in answer to our question, who is this Jesus and how can I see him? Jesus gives us each other, calling us to see Jesus in each other and prompting us to ask each other, what do you want me to do for you? Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven.